what's going on. Just getting set up real quick. Give me a second. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. We are live on YouTube as well. All right. So anybody's new, my name is Eddie. I'm a trader over at Tactical Edge Trading. I go live usually Sundays, Monday nights, Friday nights, and then some select days during the week, in the middle of the week. Ben, he's another trader over there. He goes live in the mornings, about 8:30. What is it like? I'd say between like 8:30 and like 9:15 before the market, the New York market session open. So we go live 6 days a week. If you're new to the channel, we do TA. We talk about the markets. We talk about what's happening, things to watch, levels. We talk about trading, answer questions, that kind of stuff. So feel free to ask some questions. Throw some tickers in the chat. Yeah, just chilling on a Friday night. I want to talk about a few things that we saw through the week and get a little bit of a head start on next week. Happy Friday to you, Guru. Happy Friday to you, Him&Hers. So, kind of see what I have on my chart right here. This is others. For my crypto people out there, it's been a big week for altcoins. Talked about this actually last week about watching for this move. And I posted this chart in the Discord for the members. If you guys want to join a trading Discord where I post charts, and I'm not the only one posting charts and trade ideas, go check out tacticaledgetraders.com and you can hit join Discord and verify, and you can be part of a trading community. And again, I talked about this move back here at below 188, and I said, hey, look, this is an ascending triangle. This is a bullish pattern. This is a reversal typically. So when it broke that, the next logical place for it to go is up here at 215. I mean, this is the last bit of resistance, was that high we put in on that false breakout at 197. We've cleared it already. So right now, this thing is probably going to play out the measured move that we originally had. And it's not rocket science. It's just back up here, back into the 220s. Does it get all the way up there? We'll see. Bitcoin's been kind of chilling sideways. For my crypto people, it's been, we hit the top of this channel up here. We've been in like a bearish structure in a higher time frame, but in the shorter time frame, we've been in an uptrend and we've hit resistance. So what's been happening is money has been rolling into the altcoins. How do you know that? Just go look at BTC dominance. You can see that dominance has been dropping, right? When that goes down, that means that Bitcoin has less market share than the rest of the crypto market. Yeah, I'm in a trade right now, dude. I'm in a Solana trade. I'll show you in a second. But yeah, I mean, look, here's the big thing to watch here. If you're in crypto, this is what you have to pay attention to. If you want to know if things are going up, what's USDT dominance doing? Well, it's headed down generally. We broke this trend. We put in a lower high. Everything's looking good. Everything's looking good for a little pump. I jumped into this play this morning. This is with the trade I'm in. Why did I take this trade? Well, this is Solana, dude. I took this trade because it was lagging behind Bitcoin. It was one of the market leaders last cycle, or the bull market that just ended. So I saw it starting to coil up at the bottom of the channel, and it was following like Bitcoin, except that it was down here, whereas Bitcoin's way up here inside of its bearish channel. So I'm like, there's a catch-up play coming. Technicals looked good. I gave out this trade. Believe it or not, I gave this trade out in the Discord this morning and a few days ago. And I said, at this consolidation, I'm building longs. Like I'm building a long position. I posted it in the Discord for, the members. And it's, my trade idea. I'm not telling anybody to take a trade. But, when it hit that 87, 88 level, I loaded up. And I'm sitting pretty right now. I am up, I think, from my entry. I'm up 5%, but it's in a 7x leverage trade. So I'm up about 35% on the trade. My target's the top of this channel. I got 2 TPs on this bad boy. I would like to see this 96 tapped, that high that we put in back in March. That'll be my first take profit. And then I think we really make our way up to the top of the channel and into this little segment right here where price consolidated around 105, 106, and that's really where I'm going to offload the rest of it if I do have any position left. But if I see it reverse or reject here, I'm just going to get out. I'm not going to give it all back, but yeah, Killian, I'll go look at that in a second. Give me 1 second. I'm also in another trade. I'm in Nike right now, guys. I bought a little bit of Nike today, and I'll tell you why. Look, it's been just going down forever, right? Like, it's been going down since September 2021. And we were approaching a major point of support around $40. We left behind a major gap back here in March, right? That we rejected again when we tried to attempt to fill that gap. We got rejected in mid-April. So what did we do? We came back down to my little zone, retracement zone, and we broke a trend. So I was looking to load up on the retest. That was my plan. I talked about Nike earlier this week. So I started to load up down here under sub 44. So I expect a nice move. If this can hold above this trend, I'm going to probably stay in the trade until it makes its way up to $50. And then I'm probably going to start offloading there. I am going to watch it at this high around 46, 47 because that's, where we rejected before. But if I see good, momentum still pushing through as, I'm looking to offload into this gap up here. So could it go higher? It could go much higher, honestly, but I'm taking this as a trade, a swing trade. So for me, it's going to end up being, if I can get 10 to 15%, look, if I can get 10% out of this, I'm happy, but 12, 13% would be nice. If I can get 15, that'd be amazing. But, you just take what you can get with these things. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on Nike. I think we got earnings coming up in June. Everything else has been running. I mean, maybe this thing does have a little catch up. So anyways, those are my 2 trades. Talking about those. Let me go look at Blackberry for Killian. I mean, Blackberry had a nice little look at that breakout retest. So, all right, bigger pattern. This is the bigger pattern here, right? That's a reversal. Where are you at in, well, you broke the neckline, essentially the neckline, right? Yeah. I mean, you're putting new highs in. I mean, look, I think the big level to hold here, I'm going to get rid of this real quick. That was just like for the inverse head and shoulders. I guess the big level to hold would probably be this previous high around $5. If it does pull back that far, like that's where you really want to like hold your ground, and you did. So at this point, I mean, it's in an uptrend. I wouldn't go trying to fade this thing just yet. I mean, it's strong, man. It's strong in this little trend that it's in. So some support down here at $5. I think in the short term, though, you might find a little support here if you get a pullback. That previous high, you see that right there? You could see we got a little, we hit it once, right, on the daily, and we reject it. So if we do pull back, that could be an area of immediate support around 620. On top, like, where is it going though? I guess, look, here's a big level right here it's a weekly level at $7. I would say pay attention to that level, and if it breaks above that, then I think you got another one around $8. So these are 2 levels I would say to the upside. $8 is going to be a tough cookie to break, and the reason I say is just looking at previous price action here, guys. We held this as support, and when we broke down from this big move, right? These big moves, we came back down and we back tested that level as resistance before we continued the trend down. So this is basically the bearish confirmation of the breakdown. That's going to be a tough level to get through. There's going to be a lot of liquidity up there. So we'll see. I would say $7, $8 is probably where you're headed though. So it's looking good for now. As just, hold that 620 for immediate support. And you could go down as low as $5, and I think this thing would still be bullish. So, yeah, looks good. Those are your levels. Analyze frog. What's frog? Why do I not know what that is? JFrog. Oof. I mean, look, this is at a really big, significant high right here. I mean, you're at weekly resistance, right? Haven't broken through just yet, right? And you can see why it's kind of like a big level. You just drag this over back to 2020, and you know, prices gotten hung up at this level before. So what you want to see, you want to see the break and confirmation, the breakout with the confirmation. Right now, if we start to close underneath this high, that's a failed breakout, and it could pull back. If it's going to pull back. Otherwise, you would want to see this thing continue to make its way up, find some support above this level, confirm the breakout. If it does pull back, there are some big levels to watch. You see this gap right here on Frog? I mean, hard to ignore that, right? It's just there. And it's the first thing I would say. That would be the first target to the downside if we reject here. I'd say come back down here. Look at this. You got some confluence over here. These highs kind of line up with this gap, right? So, yeah, I'd say if it does reject here and doesn't get through, you know, this $70.64, I'd say 64.63 is probably your next target. Does it bounce there, or does it actually go fill it? That's a different story. We'll have to see what happens when price gets there. But, I mean, look, fast up, sometimes fast down. So you just got to be cognizant of that. Solana is ripping right now. Oh, my God. I got to go look at it. Hold on. It's starting to break out from a flag, guys. This is my trade, by the way. Oh, man. Sorry. Let me go back to your stuff. It's enough about me. I'll check out some Tesla soon. Yeah, and we'll look at some BTC. So yeah, dude, I think those are your big levels, man. If you do reject here, look, classic SFP, right? First pass of that high. You know, oftentimes you are going to get a little bit of a pullback or a little bit of a struggle. So if it does pull back, man, that gap's going to be a nice level to watch. Maybe the gap fill happens and then you get some type of bounce. Maybe you come down a little bit deeper. I'd say in the higher time frame, though, this thing is postured. I would say it looks like it's ready to go tackle this high here. It's hit this level 3 times. If it gets a pullback and goes at this level again, it's probably going to break through. And then I think you're looking closer to $90. So, yeah, man. Short-term resistance, but if you can break that, you know, sky's the limit for you. Is this the trap? Could be a trap. That's the thing. Like, see these people that went long up here, these breakout traders, they're already getting squeezed out. So when they start to get squeezed and all these late longers get squeezed out, if that's usually when price will continue. So this is just like easy liquidity. What is that? Damn, dude. YouTube tripping on the live alerts. Even got the bell click, but eyes here. Yeah, what's up, brother? I appreciate that. Let's go look at some Tesla, dude. Let's go look at some Tesla. See what's up with that. Appreciate everybody for chilling and hanging out on a Friday. I know it's nice out most places, depending on where you're at in the United States. Or it's pretty nice weather as of lately. A lot of games going on, so we appreciate everybody for hanging out. If you haven't hit that like, subscribe, and follow, go ahead and do that. You help out the channel, and you'll get notifications to go live 6 days a week. And we've been killing it this week. We've been giving some good plays, man, and they've all hit. Like I'm literally about to go on like a little glory, like a glory lap or something, because like I threw a bunch of plays out there, and I've called them out in Sunday or Monday, and a lot of them hit and some. So it's like just tune in. You might hear something or see something that makes sense to you, and then you might end up catching a nice trade. Or learn something, too. That's always something you can do. So Tesla. Man, I did a lot of drawing on Tesla. All right, so look. On the daily, you got a daily break of structure. Market structure shift. Look, see, high. You get your low. You have your high, higher low, and then you have that break. That's your break of structure. So structure is now shifted back up on the daily. You, at some point, the idea is it'll come back down, get a retest, and continue, right? So when does that happen? Let's see. There's some good areas right here that we're kind of approaching around 436. And I would say if it goes any higher than 436, the next level that's probably going to run into, it's going to cause a lot of like turbulence, is going to be at the top of this box here around 450. You can see we're getting back into the old auction house here, right? But you can see price has gotten halted a few times here. So it's what we have to look at. So I would say, get a little defensive going into this 436 into 450. And then, if it was going to have a pullback, that'd be a good area to start looking for one. And then the idea would be to look for that higher low, because right now the trend has flipped on the daily. So in my mind, if you're just looking at daily highs, this is the daily high. That's the target, guys. Like, it's going to get there. I truly do believe it'll probably get back up here. This is all liquidity for the taking, and it's squeezing all these people out. But doesn't mean we don't get pullbacks along the way. It doesn't mean just ape in on green candles. So I do think you get back up to that 499, 500. I just think this is the first level you have to watch. So, and then to the downside, man, your big support, you got to hold. You don't want to lose this daily low at 364. Stay above that and you're good. You may even have a trend starting to form too. You can start to follow, just something like that to make it simple and kind of give you indications when you're getting a little too deep. You ideally want to hold this low too on the 4 hour on 384 for short-term bullishness. That's the level to hold in that trend. So, dude, I just tore Tesla apart with that analysis. So, guys, better hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. There's some plays up here. I honestly, I probably wouldn't be looking for shorts in this market. That's just me. I'd be looking for the pullbacks, and I'd be looking to go long. So if we do start to reject here, I'd be looking for something like that to maybe try to catch a move back into this level. And then if it pushes past, great. You get some extra out of it. The idea is, to eventually start to take out this high. And then I'd probably exit, but we'll see. Target for Tesla, probably the highs, dude. I'd say if you get past 450, you're going for the high at 500. And I'd say with the market structure shift on the daily, that it's telling me it's going for the daily high and the next daily swing high, which is the high of the all-time high. So just makes sense. You see what I mean? Like, that's the daily high. Like, there's been no other high that's been put in besides this one. Everything has been kind of just trending down in a strong fashion, like very tight, where it creates this big liquidity because we never actually came back up and swept any of this. So this is all going to get swept, I think. It's going to be a nice squeeze for Tesla. I think just keep track of it. Play big levels of support. You're looking for, I'd say $400 right now would be a juicy level if we pulled back. 400 runs into this trend. That'd be a nice level to maybe load back up. When do you think BTC to 50K? Probably later this summer or early fall. So I'll give you the BTC analysis, right? This is still my plan, and I've been saying this for a while. We've been in a downtrend, bear flag, downtrend. What are we doing right now? We're bear flagging out. Doesn't mean we don't get a pop back up into this 86. And I've said this a long time. I've said this weeks ago. I said we're coming up to this 79K to 86K region, or 85K is I think what I said. And we're almost there. I mean, we broke that 79 level. Chopped up there a little bit, but look, we broke it. Now 84, 85K is the next target. But ultimately, this is the high you have to break to get bullish. You got to get back above 97K. That's the only way I flip bullish on the higher time frame. Because, see, that's the weekly high. So we would have to literally come all the way back up here, take out this high, get a couple closures, and then I would say we're in some type of bull market or going for the all-time highs again. But that's a tall ask. Anything lower than this is just a lower high. You could come all the way back up here, test it, and then continue down. So, and my target is around like 50 to 53K if we do break down from this bear flag. It might go a little lower than that, but I would imagine none of this happens if we do break that 97K. So that's my invalidation. And I hate to say it, but it's pretty far up there. So just play the trend with this thing until it's not there. But that's my move. That's what I'm looking for, is like a sweep back into this area and then hopefully a rollover. And we'll see. Maybe we don't get it, but this would be a great area. And I would say timing-wise, I mean, look. Timing-wise, it's like that's the bear flag, right? Kind of translates over. Could take us into like July. June, July are never good months for crypto. May is usually not a good month, by the way. Just FYI. May is terrible for crypto. I think we're getting the pump early May. I'm going to tell you what your biggest red flag, though, is if you're trading anything right now and you're bullish, your biggest red flag is that altcoins are moving. Because when the high risk stuff starts to move, that's usually like when you're starting to get to that euphoric phase where people are just throwing money at stuff. And that's how it's starting to look right now. You could pretty much throw money at almost anything and you're making money to the upside. So, yeah. Who saw 700? Yeah, no, I didn't. Dude, I wasn't even watching the queues this morning. But, look, I'm not trading like I'll be honest with you guys. Like I said like last week, I said I'm looking for longs on Bitcoin anymore. It's just too high up there. It's ran too much. So I've been rolling downhill, going for things that haven't run yet, like the riskier stuff. So I'm playing the game like everybody else is, but at some point, someone's going to get left holding the bag. So I think I'm probably going to take this last trade with Solana, and then I'm going to sit on the sidelines for a bit and start looking for bigger shorts. Odds of a pullback for AMD, it's going parabolic. I'll go look at AMD. Let me go check it out, then I'll go hit some other tickers. Yeah, man, it's up till it's not, guys. You left behind a huge gap here. I love the fact that this thing is going to be a great target at some point. There will be a trade back down to this level. 400 to 365. Mark my words, it's coming back down there in probably the next week or two. I'd say give it a week or two. It'll be back down here. It'll probably come back down, test this trend, and then take out this gap. But look, see how it's holding above the gap? For now, it's up, man. I would even try to take a short until you start to see 4-hour market structure shift. Like, this is what you need to see on the 4-hour. You need to see like a high get put in, a lower high, and then that low get taken out right there. You need to see something like that on the 4-hour. Then you could start looking for shorts, in my opinion. Anything before that, you're pretty much just trying to catch the saying, catch a falling knife? This is like the opposite to the upside. So don't be that person. But yeah, man, your support's down at 400. And if it does come back down there, that's a good area. And then you have maybe down to that gap fill around 360 into this trend. I think if it did pull back somewhere into this area, that wouldn't be a bad place to look for a long. But you have to remember, this is a low volume gap here. So if it enters below this 400, this is all low volume right here, this candle. See how it just shot up really quick? It's going to shoot down really quick. So you might see something like that if it is going to remain bullish. Otherwise, it'll just be a bounce and it'll put a lower high in. So at some point, this thing will break. And I think when you want to get bearish on AMD is when this trend breaks. This, I would say, is what is it? We've been running this trend since March. So when this trend breaks, then I would say you could start looking for, a bigger move, maybe back down to like 266 or something. But until that happens, I mean, it's up. So that's AMD, guys. What's up, Caden? Caden, I was talking shit and saying how like fucking I've been killing it with the crypto calls this week. No one was looking at altcoins, and like weeks ago I called out this Ondo trade. Let me show you this, guys. This is the most ridiculous trade, by the way. I didn't get all of it. I only got some of it. This is I fucking been watching this thing weeks ago. This thing consolidate, and I said if it pops, could take out this high, maybe higher, up to 35. I had no clue it was going to come up to 46. Like, this happened in a matter of like 2 days, guys. Like, most of this move happened from 31 up to 46 happened like the last 2 days. That was a 50% jump. When I mentioned it in the Discord, it was down here, by the way. When I mentioned this thing is like looking bullish, like ready to pop. It was an 88% move it had. I didn't catch all of it. I'm not even going to sit there and pretend like I did. Because if I did, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. I'd be throwing dollar bills at strippers somewhere. I'm sorry, but I had to say something. But yeah, man, like that's insane. Anyway, let me go look at some stuff you guys want to look at. Target for Tesla, I already gave that. RK, what do you think of space stocks with the SpaceX IPO coming up? I don't know, man. That's not really my thing. I don't really like play IPOs and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna pretend to know, but I'll look at it. I'll go look at some. If you give me some space stocks, I can tell you. Oh, fucking Rocket Lab, of course. Damn, dude, this thing's just cooking right now, man. I wouldn't get in front of this. Yeah, I mean, here, look, 99 was the level to break, right? 99 is now the level to hold. So it's that simple. Hold 99. If you lose 99, I think you don't want to really drop below this here. Because if you start to lose that, then you lose this trend, and, you know, it could get a little bearish for this. You don't want to gain acceptance back below the 99, though. And if you do, you don't want to dip too hard, because otherwise people would start to take that as a blow off top or double top sweep. So for now, these are your support levels. You got this trend here too, is just like a backup. I don't really have a target on this one. I gotta be honest with you. I can do the cheesy thing and do a fib pull and give you some like generic numbers, but it's not like, this ain't science or anything like that. So you use the 1618 and the 2618 fibs. I mean, based off where it's at now on that last move, because you go to like a higher time frame and do this, it says we could get up to 125, maybe 168. So these are levels to potentially watch if it does hold above 99, 100. So I don't want to get too bullish on this thing, but hey, man, I mean, I wouldn't be shorting it, I'll tell you that much. So Rocket Lab's up till it's not. Those are your levels. AST, let me look at sound real quick. Someone's asking for SoundHound. Okay, I think I've done this one before because I have some levels on here. All right, so we swept this weekly low at around 650. And we were actually doing pretty good right now. We broke that first high I talked about at 880. And I said if it gets up there, the next level to watch is this line here, which I see, like, you draw these things and you come back to them like weeks or months later, and then you see them like actually respect it, and it's like, that's crazy. But that's how you build confluence in your trading system and your levels. But anyway, $10. It's getting a little rejection. It's still holding above this 8 level. So what I would suspect is you're going to pick a direction based off one of these two levels. One of them are going to break. So you're going to break up, or it's going to break down and head back down. So these are the levels to watch, is 874, and I'd say just under $10. So $9.90 to $10. If you start to lose this trend and you lose this low at 880 that I just mentioned, all right, then it starts to look like we're maybe coming back down to test some of these lows. Potentially this one here around 775, or even back down to 650. So the idea is, don't want to lose that. If you do that, then you might be heading back down here. So stay above trend and then blast off. And if it does break that $10 level, your next resistance doesn't come into about $12, $13. So that's like a 20% move for it. So this thing could run. What about path? Is SoFi pullback is a retest more downside of TA? Can you check? Yeah, I can check. Yeah, that's fair, Caden. You got to do you, brother. You know me, man. I'm in my element when it comes to fucking altcoins. That's how I learned how to trade, was trading altcoins, if I'm being honest with you. I've already looked at AMD and Tesla. No problem, brother. MCD. Let me go look at the McDonald's. You know what? McDonald's fucking sucks anyway. So this doesn't surprise me. I hate McDonald's. It's like the one place, if you ever go there, it's like I don't want to talk to the people that work there, because they're always like, they go out of their way to make you feel like shit. It's so weird. I don't know, like, excuse my cursing, but I don't know. I just get that vibe. Any McDonald's I've ever gone in my life, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna go there, man. The people are miserable. I don't want miserable people like handling my food, like. But I guess it is, you know. Yeah, this thing kind of is just like been uptrending for a long time. I can't find any real trends on this thing though. So I'm just gonna mark it up by level, man. Like, look, you took out this key level here. You've taken out pretty much all this liquidity down to this low here. It's do or die now. If McDonald's doesn't hold this 275 here, this weekly low, it's probably coming back down to 240. So that's a pretty big drop there. Yeah, it's an 11% drop, so it better hold here. We're still watching this trend that's been holding. So look, it needs to hold fine support here. Swept all this liquidity. So what I would want to see to get bullish is looking for something like this. Maybe it reclaims, pops trend, flips structure, then maybe comes and attacks these highs up here around 300, 312. Otherwise, if it starts to lose this thing, man, it could, like I said, it could dump all the way down to 245. So we'll see. I think it's going to have a decision to make this week, this upcoming week. And we just had earnings, and the earnings probably weren't, the earnings beat, and it's dumping. That's interesting. It's probably going to reverse, though. I don't know, man. Like, my gut says that this thing's going to reverse here. Like, I don't know how big of a bounce, but, like, this is what you look for. You look for the sweep of all the liquidity in the previous range, and usually you get a nice, juicy bounce from there. Let me see if there's any divergence here. I mean, there's a little bit on the daily. You can see the momentum's a little higher as price has been rolling down. The only thing is I'm not seeing any, like, real flip in the momentum. The momentum hasn't really, like, gone up yet on the higher time frames. Maybe look at the 12-hour. Yeah, there's no divs yet. I need to see some bullish divergence start to form. Otherwise, I can't get bullish on this thing yet. This may not be the low. And if it is, it's not a strong low, or this is not a strong bounce. So I would wait and see. See if this 276 holds. Otherwise, it's probably going to head down. What about Path? Let me go look at Path, guys. Guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. We go live 6 days a week. Myself and Ben, he does a morning show. I do an evening show. We talk markets, charts, trading, technicals, all the fun stuff. Fundamentals sometimes, And, yeah, we also have a live trading group. You could join that Discord by going to tacticaledgetraders.com. We have free courses over there. Ben put together some trading courses. It's all the knowledge he has into a bunch of courses, and it's free access. You don't even have to pay for it. And you can join the Discord right from that website and be part of a real trading community. We're not a signals group, but I mean, a lot of these plays that we're talking about today, I've given them out weeks ago or earlier this week, and a lot of them played out. So, I mean, we're throwing stuff out there, and there's other traders just as good, if not better than me, who are doing the same thing. They're killing it, and they're sharing their charts, they're sharing their ideas, and, that's the idea, being a part of a community to help each other. Many eyes makes for, like, less work, or, many hands, whatever the saying is. You guys get what I'm saying, whatever. So, look, I'm trying to figure out where this low is on this path. I mean, I guess we're at it, man. We're sweeping the low. Like, if we don't hold here, it's no good. Like, I don't know where this thing's going to go. So the idea here is you really want to hold this low at 940. You've taken the liquidity. Let's see what it does. Let's say the next level on the weekly is probably up here around 1278. So this is an interesting pattern here. I don't really know what the hell to call this thing. Like, is it a bear flag or is it an ascending triangle? Like, I'm not sure, but that's your bullish case. All right, there's your ascending triangle pattern. If it breaks, it takes you back up to this high we just talked about. I could see that happening, but if it loses this trend here, then it's probably coming back down to test this low, and if it loses this low, guess what? Who knows where it's going? I honestly, I'm not going to pretend to sit there and say I know where it's going to go. But it's not good if it's taken out lows that have been holding for many years. Let's see how long this goes back. I mean, yeah, we've taken out lows from 2022. So it needs to hold here, but it looks okay for now. You got some bullish divergence on the weekly. Money flow's coming up a little bit on the daily. Yeah, this thing has a chance. Has a chance to get back up to that 1260. You use Meta 5? No, I don't use Meta 5. I use TradingView, dude. Damn, look at Swee. A friend of mine texted me the other day, and she was like, she sent me the chart. She's like, SWE looks like ready to go. She's like, the weekly just printed a green dot. And I said, yeah. I said, you should probably buy some SWE. Because I told her I was loading up on some cryptos, and it was SWE was down here. It was at like 92 cents when she texted me. Like back down here. It's up like 20%. I texted her today to see if she bought, and she ignored my question, so I don't think she did. Back. Guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. Go live 6 days a week, and yeah, you'll get notifications. You help out the channel. Oh, this looks like a lower high to me, dude. Bank of America looks like that's not good. That's not a good look. Wasn't there some bearish news about banks today? Something happened when I was trading. I was in the live group this morning trading, and Anthony was talking about. It was either Anthony or Josh that mentioned it, and I was like half in, half tuned into my trades. I wasn't really listening. But yeah, I mean, this looks like it could be a lower high forming on the weekly. You got I guess the level to watch here. If you're a holder of this thing, you do not want to lose this low at $45. Your highs, this is your all-time high. If you lose this low, that's gonna be bad. That's probably gonna produce a drop back down to 33, 34 bucks, because that would be a weekly market structure shift. I mean, the daily's already shifted, and it's already starting to roll over. So this thing's got to prove itself fast and hold this 45, 46 level. Otherwise, I'm going to start with, in my mind, I'm going to start thinking this might be a macro top. Just like we had one here and we pulled back. I mean, the pullbacks are pretty significant on this thing. When it runs up, you know, like right here, what was that? 31%. I mean, that was the bear market. That was 50%. Back here. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at some pretty big pullbacks. So if this thing is actually going to if this thing is actually not going to reclaim soon, you know, 30% would probably take you back down. Well, that was the last pullback. And that was the least one. That would still take you back down to like 40 bucks. So we'll see. RDZN. Roadzen? What is this? I'll be honest with you, dude, I have no idea what this is. I mean, look, range high. Somewhere around here. Somewhere in this area. Range low. More apparent down here. So, yeah, you're just ranging. I mean, look, $3 seems to be the high that it's gotten up there a few times. You're at a local high right now, you know, 250. So if it gets rejected here, then, you know, the weekly low is all the way back down at $1. So I'd be watching to see if it can clear this higher now. Was it a sweep? No, it didn't take the liquidity. So, I mean, I guess if you're going to look for a bounce, you're probably going to have to look for one in this area here. Hold on. Let's say in this box here. This is where if it's going to bounce, it's going to bounce somewhere around here. And you can see in the past why they price kind of chops up around here. This could be support at some point. So I'd be looking for maybe this gap to fill. You got a CME gap right there. So anywhere in this zone between 130 to 150, you're looking for a higher low. If you can form a higher low somewhere in there, then I think you do come take out this high at 258. The fact that it didn't get all the way up there kind of is sus to me. So, and then money flow looks good. Money flow's curving up. I think this might just be a pullback. Money flow still looks good. This is just a pullback. I would say look for that higher low somewhere around here. Between 160 and I'd say 130. I don't know exactly where it's going to fall because it's a pretty volatile stock. Moves pretty aggressively, so it could really range. But that would be my guess. Search engine company. What? What's engine company? SoFi is getting beat up pretty bad right now. All right, so I'll get rid of all this stuff here. I haven't looked at SoFi in a while. Look, if it continues down, that's the target, $15, $14.90. If it loses $14.90, I mean, it really gets bloody for this thing. I'd say that's your first target. Maybe a little bounce here, but it really down to 850 is really where it could head. Because you see, like, there's a little bit of liquidity here, a little bit of consolidation. So there's probably going to be orders, maybe some stops here that it could go for. There's like, people call it order blocks or so many words for it. But this area is an area of interest around 1250. And I'd say 850 is your next big level if it does continue to head down. But that only happens if you lose 1490. So the idea here is if you're looking for, trade idea this is what I'd be watching for. You got rejected here at that CME gap, right? I would look for, if we don't hold at this exact level here where we're kind of bouncing, I'd look for a sweep down here of the low, then come back up to attack this gap and take out this gap. I'd be looking for an SFP down here at this 1490 because I think they're going to take this gap out. The fact that they rejected here and then they're rolling back down means they want to grab down before they go up. Well, at least that's what it's telling me. So I'd be looking for something like that. But ultimately, I think it does make its way back up here. If it does hold this low, it could be like a nice double bottom scenario, like a W pattern like that. That could get you out of this little slump that it's been in. And maybe take back some. It's going to bounce at some point, right? It's not going to head straight down. This is a macro top, right? Head and shoulders. I mean, would it be crazy for it to come back up, take some of this liquidity, and then run back down? No, it wouldn't at all. So, we'll just take it one level at a time, though. So that's SoFi. I'll check out search engine in a minute. You guys are throwing way too many stuff at me now. You got to get those likes up, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. Just going through tickers tonight, just seeing what everybody's got and what they want to check out. And but yeah, we go live 6 days a week, myself and Ben. He does a morning show. I do an evening show. We have a website with free courses on it, tacticaledgetraders.com. Links are in the bio. Yeah, check it out. We have a Discord that we trade in as well. You can join that Discord if you're interested. It's free to join. All over at tacticaledgetraders.com. So look, man, if ServiceNow is going to bounce, it has to do it here. There's two levels. You got this macro trend here, right, from back in 2015. And it pretty much just made its way straight down to it, right? And you can see it got a reaction on it. So if it's going to bounce, this is probably the level. Otherwise, you're coming down to this low here. That's 68. If you lose this trend, it's down to 68. I would just watch this one, man. I would want to see some structure form. It doesn't look super bullish here. You want to see at least that, I would wait for a daily shift. You got a little bit of a trend starting to form here on the daily. It's like a steep trend, but you see what I'm saying? Something like that. I'd want to see price action break up, create a new higher low, and then start to flip. That's where I get bullish. Otherwise, I'd be looking down to that 68. And if it does break here, and let's say it does flip structure, I'd say the first big level to watch will be 126. If it breaks 126, it could go a lot higher. So, yeah, that's now. Oh, RDZN is a search engine. Okay, that makes sense. I was wondering. I was like, what is he saying to me right now? I already looked at Bank of America. What's PG? I'm going to go look at that real fast. Proctor and Gamble. It looks a little toppy, if I'm being honest. This looks toppy to me. So let's just play connect the dots real quick. Yeah, see that? First time I've ever looked at this chart, by the way. It's just it looked like it's broken down. So this was a trend from 2018. It's lost that trend. It's hit it multiple times along those almost a decade. And it lost this trend. It tried to reclaim that at the weekly high, got rejected. And right now it's trying to hold this weekly low. So I'd say if this low at 138 is lost, you have a bigger move coming. Potentially down to 120 and then maybe down to 95. I'd say it could go further than that, but like that's just play level by level for now. The level to break to the upside. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's up here. That's the level to break. You got to break 166 to get bullish on the weekly. Daily, same scenario. That's the daily high. So, yeah, you're kind of in a rock between a rock and a hard place here. Maybe this thing ranges out a bit before it picks a direction. So I just watch this thing. But yeah, I like this level up here, 166. If it does get above that, then yeah, it could go back. It'll definitely sweep the highs, but it's pretty much damn near at the highs at that point. So yeah, this is a tough one. I probably sit on my hands on this one. This is not giving me enough. If you're not short from here and you're not short from here, you're pretty much sitting on your hands until you get a lower high. Do you do supply and demand zones? Not necessarily like in that way. I look for areas of interest on the charts. And maybe it is a supply zone. Maybe it is a demand zone. I kind of look at it like how many eyes are on that level. If I see like a horizontal lining up with a trend, lining up with some psychological number, or maybe even like a VWAP or some moving average on a higher time frame. You know, when I start to see things like that all lining up and a bunch of them starting to like stack up at an area, and it's a weekly high and it's got significance, like that's where I'm watching. Those are the levels I'm watching because I know when price gets there, there's going to be some buying and selling. And there's going to be some exchange of hands, and then it's going to be a good time to play a reaction. So that's usually what I do. I don't take SFPs. I do breakout retests or breakdown retests. Like this is like the picture perfect. If this is a lower time frame, this would be the trade I'd be looking for. Get that breakdown, that retest, that would be where I enter and just look for the trend. I'm trying to catch reversals. You can do it on different time frames, but that's just typically how I trade. And the way I trade is kind of almost how I see the market, because I'm always looking. My eyes just get drawn to certain patterns and stuff. So I don't know. It's hard for me to see bullishness here because it just matches like what I've seen happen so many times that this thing's gonna dump. Let's go look at Netflix. Sorry, I went on a little rant there, guys. Oh, Netflix don't look good either. Looks like a blow off top to me. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty big drop. 43%. But it did run up pretty hard since 2021, man, since COVID. COVID set this thing on a freaking like a trajectory, and it's finally entering what I think might be its first bear market since 2021. Like, how crazy is that? But it doesn't mean you can't get a bounce, and it did get a bounce. So the idea here is, look, you've already on the weekly, this is the weekly low. That's the level to hold. You got to hold 75. But because this was a low, that was a high, and then we broke that low here when we came down, that was like a break of structure or a change of character, whatever you want to call it. It's basically telling a story that, like, you know, we're not holding previous lows anymore. So anytime you see a lower high start to form, you have to automatically, your mind has to think that you're coming to tack this low here or potentially go lower. So in order to be bullish, the price has to prove it to you to be bullish. And right now, I just don't see bullishness. Like, look, we're running into a gap right now. See this right here? CME gap. And we're starting to fill that. So maybe when the gap gets filled, if it can catch a bounce, then potentially, yeah. But if it breaks down much lower than that, it's coming for this low here at 74. And if it does come here, they better hold. If it doesn't hold, it's going to be a bigger drop. Back down to, I'd say between 60 and 50 is a good target next. But hey, maybe it'll put a higher low in or double bottom, and it'll try to go back up higher. It left behind a little bit of a gap here at this $107 to $100 level. So maybe it'll flip. We'll see. I'd say 75 is the big level to watch here. That's Netflix for you. I'll go check out DE. Guys, go over to tacticaledgetraders.com. You can check out our free trading courses. Ben put together some courses for you guys. Tons of modules. We talk about trading psychology, order flow, just basic support resistances, how to identify these things. Just, I'm telling you, like, we could technically sell these courses, and I've seen courses similar. I wouldn't say they're as good, and people have charged thousands of dollars for them. So they're free. It's nothing. It's not going to cost you anything but your time and a little bit of, a little bit of focus. So I say go check that out, and then while you're at it, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. We go live 6 days a week, and it helps out the channel, and we appreciate that. Let me look at DE, Deere and Company. I mean, look, dude, it had a nice break from this initial breakout at 445, right? You could see this beautiful accumulation here. Rips up, comes down, gets that perfect retest, and starts to go. Puts in a new high, took out the old high. So naturally, and look, when we talked about this one a while back, the measured move for this thing, and we joked around about it. I joked around about it because I thought it was ridiculous. I said, hey, this would be the measured move. And look what we're doing. We're almost up to the top of this thing. I was joking when I said that. I was like, no, like, that's what the technicals say. It just didn't seem believable. Well, it's doing it. So I wish I would have taken that trade. I didn't. But I would say support here, man, 536. Hold this previous high. Like, keep that uptrend going. Every time you break out, you come back and retest, right? Breakout, retest. So, breakout. Let's get that retest. Continue up. Get up to that $800 target I set a while back that I thought was ridiculous, but now seems a lot more achievable. So that's DE, man. Short-term resistance, look, you got that 672, and then you have a level just above us that we put in at around 617. Go just watch those levels. If you start breaking above them, you break 617, you're probably going back up to test that 672. Otherwise, I'd say down to this trend, not this trend, down to this level around 530, 536. I would like to see that. Maybe you'll get a nice little sweep down here, take out all this liquidity here, and then get a nice bounce. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, so that's DE, guys. Hims, one of my favorite stocks to trade. Yeah, I can go look at Hims. How long have I been trading? Like six plus years at this point. Not profitable the whole time. I learned like everybody else that I lost a lot of money in the beginning, and it took me some time to kind of get a system together that worked for me, and then figure out my discipline and kind of just drown out everybody else's noise. That takes a while, and kind of get away from like emotional side of trading. That's a hard part to master. That takes time. I'm still getting better at the psychology part. And I think that's going to be like a lifelong journey, but yeah, about 6 years. And I know some guys have been trading a lot longer than me, and some guys are brand new. There's a lot of people like different levels in the trading group over at tacticaledgetraders.com. So check it out, guys. I mean, Hims looks good. I mean, look, big level you're approaching 33, but I'm more concerned less with 33, which 33 is a good level, but I think really that $40 level seems a lot juicier to me, right? So I do expect a little bit of resistance at this 33, 34, but I'd really be watching 40. But yeah, right now, look, it's just been this. Low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low. I mean, I'd imagine it's probably going to come put a new high in and just keep doing this until it doesn't. So that's Hims. Those are your levels. I would say probably don't want to drop too much below this level. I mean, we're holding that $27 level, which was the previous high. You can dip a little bit, but you just don't want to like lose it for too long. And it hasn't. It's reclaiming it already. So I'd say it's going to continue up. Greed kills profits on the psychological side. It's not even just greed, man. It's sometimes panicking out of trades, not trusting. If you take a big loss or let's say you're coming off a losing streak, which just happens and everything. For my people out there that are in sales or sports, anything that's competitive that like requires like, you know, it has like a roller coaster effect on your emotions, like winning and losing. If you go on a losing streak, or let's say you're your job is sales, you make 100% commission, and you don't sell like a few of the like, you know, a few of your leads, it starts to become really stressful, and you start to like, you know, your mind starts to go to dark places. Same thing in trading. When you start to lose a few trades, your mind goes to a dark place, and it starts to think of all the worst things, all the worst pains you felt, because your mind can't decipher between the pain you're feeling from losing a little bit of money in a trade and that time, like, you know, when you got in a car crash when you were a kid or some shit. I swear to God, like, your mind does weird things, and it's proven. Like, there's like, I mean, psychologists have like done studies on this stuff. It's out there. I read like there's a few books on it. We actually talked to Ben, did like a podcast with a sports psychologist not that long ago, and he said some crazy stuff about the mind and how it plays tricks on you. So, yeah. Anyways, MSTR. So that's Hims, man. Hims looks good for now. MicroStrategies. Okay. So damn, MicroStrategies went down. I said this, guys. I said this a while back too. When we were here, I said, hey, MicroStrategy gets acceptance back below this. It's coming down to the bottom of this range. Old range, acceptance back in, bottom of the range. So the same rule holds true. We're at the top of the range. If we don't break here, then guess what? We're just going to continue to do this. But if we do break and we can convincingly hold, there could be a nice move up for MicroStrategies here. I would say my first target to the upside, I have to be like a little bit more conservative because it is lagging a little bit. But I would say 234 would be a nice level to watch because it's a previous swing low of the bull market, right? So that could hold some weight. If it breaks that level, though, you could run up to 300, 360. There's nothing really stopping you above that from running up to this level, to like 360. So, you know, get back above like 180, 188, 190 and hold it as support. You know, 234, 235 could be next. And if you break that level, man, 366 is the next target I have. And there's a lot of reasons it could get up there. I'd say the biggest one is it's probably a 786, 618, 786, like right in there, the golden pocket. And this level I just mentioned at 234 is a 382. So, yeah, those are going to be big levels to watch on MSTR. Again, gotta get above this level here. So, thoughts on iron? Revenge trading will never do anything. Yeah, I've been there, man. I've definitely done some revenge trading, guys. I'm not proud of it. You always walk away feeling ashamed. It's like, I can't say it. I can't say that on air. But you ever make some questionable choices when you're, you know, not in the right state of mind? I'm not going to say exactly what you might have been doing the night before. Maybe like things you did in college on the weekends, and then you wake up the next day and you like regret every decision you ever made. That's how, and you just don't know what you were thinking, but at the time it was the greatest idea ever. That's how revenge trading is. Because when you're in it, you have no clue. And unless you become, you know, you start to be able to identify when you're going on tilt. But then once you get there and you're like going through it, like it's like such a hard, like it's so hard to pull you out. It's like being in like a losing streak in a casino and you go on tilt. Like then you just end up like blowing everything. And like gamblers understand that, traders understand that. It's a real thing. It's like a death spiral you don't want to go down. Yeah, I'll go look at iron. I could write a book on that shit because I've literally, man, yeah, I could tell you, like, I had to like learn the hard way. I had to go on tilt many times to figure out that like I gotta like just know when to stop trading. And you know what the secret to breaking tilt? One is recognizing that you're going on tilt and that you're revenge trading. And then the two is just to walk away from the charts. You don't have to do anything else. Just stop trading. That's all you have to do. And guess what? Come back the next day. And maybe if it was a big loss, like a lot of money, maybe take a couple days, take a weekend before you look at a chart again. But I guarantee you the next time you come around, you're going to be like, man, I should have just chilled and not done any of that. the worst thing you can do is to keep trying to trade and try to like make the money back. That's the mindset. That's the losing mindset there. Like, I'm going to make it back. I mean, this thing's bullish, dude. Look, it broke out of this. Look at this. This is a bull flag. But you're up against resistance. So you're up against a 64.65. If it can break that, it's going to take the high. There's no other way around it. That's the next level. Your support is probably down here. I'd say anywhere between 48 and 43. Pretty far away, but look, you're at resistance. We'll see what happens. Maybe you get a little pullback here. A little bit of a trend, maybe. I don't know if it'll come back into play, though, but it's far down. So maybe we get a pullback into this area if we do get a pullback. So I would say between 54 and 50 will be a nice area to hold in this trend if we do pull back on iron. Otherwise, you know, you're looking for this. Boom. Just continue up. I mean, earnings, look, I don't think earnings is really affecting too many things right now. They're going to react the way they're going to react. But they did push into resistance. So if it was bad and they missed, you know, maybe they're going to sweep the highs and then they're going to reject. Who knows? Anyways, guys, I've been going for about an hour. It's a Friday night. For those of you guys who don't know who I am, my name is Eddie. I'm a trader over at Tactical Edge Trading. Check us out, tacticaledgetraders.com. We got free courses on there. I highly suggest you sign up for them. It's free. You're going to learn how to trade. And doesn't mean you're going to be good at it, by the way, but you're going to learn how to trade. You'll understand what we're talking about when I'm giving TA and why I'm looking at the levels I'm looking at and why, like, you know, you'll understand the why behind it. And check out the Discord at tacticaledgetraders.com. We do live trading Monday through Friday. Ben runs a New York session. We do events. I do a Sunday CME group where I go over weekly setups for swing traders, people with jobs that can't spend, spend a bunch of time in front of a screen to scalp, intraday. I do like a weekly CME. And we go live 6 days a week. So you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. You'll get notifications and you help out the channel. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody. If you're not in the Discord, guys, go. Yeah, plug power. Yeah, you ain't lying, dude. If you're not in the Discord, just go join, dude. Say what's up. I'm telling you, dude, I posted so many fire charts last Sunday, and they all hit. I'd say at least 9 out of 10 of them hit. One of them, I think, might still be going sideways. But this Sunday, we're going to be doing the same thing, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you're not in the Discord, you're going to miss out. So I'll see you guys there. Anyways, have a good one. Later, guys.